Why are you so tense, god damn it?
Because I don't know what I'm doing!
Calm down.
Oh yeah, it's the comic book haul, the Hump Day haul, number 45. Let's crack it. This is a shout out and an ode to my former beer review watchers. I'm sure you guys remember that sound, but it's a seltzer, black cherry polar. Sorry guys. Still retired from the beer reviews. Alright guys, it's the Hump Day haul, July 22nd, 2015. I wanted to start my haul out with Aquaman number 42, and guess what? My comic book shop, no Aquaman. They said they got shorted on the issues this week, and they already sold out. By the time I got out of work, I even got out of work early today, because one of the people I was supposed to see didn't show up, and I got down there at about 5 o'clock, no Aquaman. So I have no update on Aquaman number 42. But I've been reading tons of Aquaman. If you guys watched my graphic novel haul video, I think it was a couple weeks ago now, or last week, I've got several Aquaman New 52 books, and I've started out with number 2, and I've read 2 through 4, and I'm now on graphic novel number 5. So I pretty much read the Jeff Johns run. I have to buy volume 1 and start that, which is The Trench, I believe. I just couldn't wait. I had to start these. And I gotta say, man, I really enjoy reading graphic novels. I mean, this format and having all these issues at my disposal at once. And I gotta say that I'm really enjoying this type of reading experience over the floppies. Getting the floppies each month, it's just the wait in between each issue. You know, you have to wait a whole month. Sometimes you may have a weekly series. Sometimes you may have a series that's bi-weekly. Point is, you gotta wait. And let's face it, a lot of the issues that come out, they're not very big. What are they on average? Like 32 pages, but they have like ads in them. Sometimes you get a book and there's not a lot of dialogue in it. You can kind of burn through it in like 5 minutes sometimes, if that. I've had issues of comics where it's only taken me like 3 or 4 minutes to read because the dialogue has been so sparse, and I'm like, geez, I just spent $4 on that comic and it took me like 3 minutes to read. It's starting to make the movies look like a bargain, right? Everybody always complains about the price of the movies, but hell, I mean, movies now are like 2 hours long on average, so especially superhero movies. So I don't know, man. I'm really rethinking my stance. I'm still gonna buy floppies, but I gotta say that the reading experience, especially to go through like nearly a full run and just having all these issues at my disposal and just be able to like settle in for a few hours in a night and read a graphic novel is just very, very refreshing and enjoying. And I feel like I retain a lot more of the information more than with the floppies. And you guys know, every week I'm on here and I'm like trying to rack my brain remembering the names of characters. I don't. Let's face it, I don't. And trying to remember all the plot points that have happened, and I just don't remember. And I don't really have the luxury of rereading comics all the time, right? Nor do I think I really want to. You know, maybe way down the line, but I can't each month keep rereading issues and rereading issues. So what I have started to do in my comic book haul, because I do have a backlog now of floppy issues too, the ones that I just absolutely have to read as soon as I get them, I read, but then there's a bunch that I don't. I'm kind of waiting until like the few nights before their next issue comes out before I'll start to read it. So that way all the stuff is kind of fresh in my mind. Like Sons of the Devil came out today. I got it. I read the last issue last night. You know what I mean? I have to, or else I don't remember anything. So I'm really just thinking I might start to trade wait on a lot of stuff. I guess that's the term for it. Waiting for the trade to come out. And I'll have to see, and plus I'll just save a lot more money. Because when you order from places like cheapgraphicnovels.com or any other service that you use, you can really get these for half off. So this one here, for instance, volume 4, or what, rather, let's do Volume 5, okay? Volume 5, 7 or 8 issues. If I buy that newsstand, I think Aquaman is $3. You're looking at spending at least $24, right? This is $25 retail, but I can get it at cheapgraphicnovels.com for like half the price. So I can get this for like $12.50, $13. If they're having an even better sale, I can get it for even cheaper than that. So, and I have all the issues at once. So I don't know. I think that for like a lot of issues, I'll still buy each month. You know, I definitely am going to buy all the Green Lantern stuff and Batman because I can't really wait to read those, but really making me rethink my stance, and I'd love to know how you guys feel about it. So let me know. Sorry this rant went for so long, so let's get to the haul. First, I got Sinestro, number 13. It says Parallax, released. Lots of stuff going on in the world of Sinestro and the Yellow Lanterns. Sinestro is now aware, thanks to his scribe, his clairvoyant biatch, Lyssa. Lyssa Drac has told him that the Green Lanterns have all disappeared, that they've all been captured and transported to another dimension. Well, he doesn't really know all that, but he knows that they've disappeared, thanks to Lyssa. Because of this, he has protected his daughter. His daughter, Saranac, that's a beer, isn't it? Soranik is a Green Lantern. So what he decided to do, and this is how the last issue kind of ended, he took that ring away from her and put on a yellow ring. And she is not happy about that, folks. As you can see, she's pretty pissed. Pretty pissed. And it's an interesting dynamic that forms between these two. He informs her what's going on with the Green Lanterns, and she is not happy at all. We also learn in this issue who the traitor is, who set down the meltdown of New Corridor. Someone set off this device in the center of the planet and is going to try to make it explode. Well, that's revealed, and I'm going to say it's not who you think. It is not who you think. So there's a couple twists and turns in this issue, and it just keeps getting better and better. And I'm really enjoying it, and the stories are getting a bit more complex. And look who gets released, folks, as the title says. The entity of fear, the Parallax. Sinestro had to release him, and you'll find out why in here. All right, guys, that's Sinestro, number 13. Marvel Comics, I got a few this week. Spider-Woman, number 9. I'm really enjoying Spider-Woman. It kind of has like a Harley Quinn kind of flair to it. Spider-Woman doesn't seem to take herself all too seriously, and that's what's kind of refreshing in this. She kind of can crack jokes at herself. She's a bit self-deprecating. She's just funny, but she's strong and smart at the same time, which is the combination that I love in a woman, right? In this issue, she goes on a road trip, okay? She kind of hangs out with this reporter. Let me get my thing, because I never remember names. Ben Urich. And Ben Urich kind of gives Spider-Woman some leads and some assignments. So in this issue, she starts going on some road trips. And she's traveling with Ben, but then she's also traveling with one of those Z-list villains from the last story arc. And I'm not going to get into it, but one of the Z-list villains from the last story arc, the Porcupine. And Porcupine, Ben, and Ms. Drew, a.k.a. Spider-Woman, start to go on these missions, and there starts to be some problems with the Porcupine. Being that he's a Z-list villain and all, he's a nice guy and everything, but he sucks. He screws everything up, not very smart, not the best detective, and it's pretty hilarious, the stuff that ensues between them. I started reading this, and it is pretty funny. And as you can see, look at how this looks. I mean, it does kind of starting to have like a Harley Quinn kind of flair to it. The coloring, the missions that they're going on. There's one mission in here that I really wish they made it a full issue. It sounded like in this retirement home, there was some kind of vampire situation going on. And all they do is show it for a page. They kind of show this dark cloud going up out of the nursing home. And then they show her battling some like vampire bat kind of creatures. And then that's it. And I was like, shit, man, I wish they could have explored that. That could have been a kind of a neat, at least maybe a one-shot issue story. I would have liked that, being the horror guy that I am. But anyway, they arrive at this like western town and they run into the sheriff. I love this sequence. They always have good 2-page spreads in here that I'm getting too much glare to really make out for you guys. But this sheriff is kind of bad news. And for some reason, he reminds me of Mickey Rourke very much. I'm thinking of Mickey Rourke the whole time when I'm seeing this guy. And I can't wait to read what happens. Punisher, Marvel. I didn't know this, dudes. This is the last issue of The Punisher. After, you have Secret Wars going on, and then Marvel is doing like a big reset of their comic book line, similar to DC. And Punisher, there's been no plans yet for Punisher. So issue number 20, you've had the same team working on this. Nathan Edmondson was the writer, and Mitch Gerads, the artist, and I believe the colorist, which I have issue with. But I'll get to that in a minute. But this is over with, man. So basically, in this issue, Punisher takes down the terrorist cell, the Black Dawn. And this terrorist cell has been executing Americans. And one of the Americans that they have hostage is one of Punisher's acquaintances. And I believe that he may have been offed. Anyway, this is basically a good old-fashioned revenge mission. And Frank Castle goes to town. He kicks ass. And there's some great sequences in here. Here he is taking one of these guys out. Infidel. And he gives him the old boot stomp, and I guess you can imagine the skull-crushing intensity that ensues from there. Really, really sad that this is over. I started collecting this, I think, around issue number 14 or 15, and I really enjoyed it, and I think I'm going to buy the trades. I think I'm going to order the trades just so that I can get a complete experience with the whole thing. I liked everything about it. I thought Punisher was very cold and calculating, at least in the issues that I read. One thing I didn't like, a lot of the coloring was just like this drab kind of green and olive. Like, not the best coloring, man. And they did this for issue after issue and page after page. And like this whole issue, it pretty much is like that. So it got to be kind of like, ugh, very depressing and down. I understand that the Punisher, kind of likes to chill in the dark a little bit. He's got to be all stealth mode, but, you can give me a little bit of coloring. I mean, they do give you some red in here, some spatterings of blood and stuff, but it just isn't enough, man. I guess I'm spoiled by Dave Stewart with all the Mignola-verse books that I read and stuff. I'm very, very spoiled. Speaking of which, we have Frankenstein Underground number 5, and you got the all-star team of Mike Mignola, Ben Steinbeck, and Dave Stewart. And this is the final story of the miniseries. And Mignola claims that this is the only Frankenstein miniseries that there's going to be, which I'm very, very surprised at. But I do have a feeling that Frankenstein is going to appear in future issues of Hellboy. Spoiler alert, Hellboy and Frankenstein do not cross paths in this. I was really hoping they would, but then I realized that, Hellboy is in hell right now. He's dead. And Frankenstein is in Hollow Earth. He's in kind of like the center of the earth, but I guess hell's a whole nother dimension, right? You got to be dead to get there. Great artwork and sequences. Reminds me of Rumble, some of the things in here, some of the sequences. And again, Frankenstein, a very sympathetic character. You're going to really feel for him in this. And I highly recommend this. I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want to give away a lot of stuff. But Dave Stewart knocks it out of the park with the coloring. And there's even some monsters in here. So it's kind of, in a way, pretty standard Mignola-verse stuff, but very, very satisfying read. So I suggest you check it out. Okay, now on to Image Comics. And Image has a great deal for you this week. And this is part of the reason why I really like Image Comics because they do kind of throw these bones at you once in a while, and I really appreciate it. Wolf, okay, issue number 1. It does have a $5 price tag, folks. I don't know if that's showing up. $4.99, but it is worth it. I am telling you right now. This is written by Ailes Cott, artwork by Matt Taylor, colorist Lee Lowenridge. I guess Ale Knotts is Czech descent. He's written Zero and Secret Avengers. And other members of this comic book team have worked on Deep Space, which I have seen. That's looked pretty good, but I haven't picked it up yet. I could probably get it in trade. Deadly Class and The Wicked and the Divine. Okay, so basically, Antoine Wolfe, I'm going to read right from the back for you. Antoine Wolfe, a hard-boiled paranormal detective with a death wish, has to cope with sudden responsibility for an orphaned teenage girl who might be the key to the impending apocalypse, California style. This takes place in L.A. Also featured a bag full of cash, a serial killer on the loose, and many, many secrets. And I guess there's going to be a ton of social commentary in this book. I read a great article in The Guardian that talked about this, and they interviewed Ailes Cott. I'm probably saying his name wrong, but he said that this is really going to be exploring issues, really going to be looking at the city of Los Angeles and all the crazy stuff that seems to be happening there and in the world. He said that he's going to be making like a social commentary on even like the prison industrial complex. There's even a story in here where he helps a person out whose landlord is a vampire, literally. So I can't wait to read that. But 64 pages, guys. 64 pages, no ads. Look at how beefy that is. Look at the gap bend and the staple there. This thing is beefy, and I love that Image does stuff like this. They did this with The Autumn Lands, the first issue that came out. I think that was 48 pages with no ads. I love it, man. Now, if this came out for DC, it would probably be like $7.99, I bet. And it would be full of ads, because that's what DC does. And DC routinely puts out $5 Justice League issues, which is why I don't buy Justice League. But for $5, I think it justifies the price. The artwork looks incredible. It starts out with a guy that is burning up, and he's singing like a song. And I hope you guys will support this, because I think when a comic book company does this, and it's gotten some pretty good reviews so far, they deserve to be rewarded, because I feel like we're being rewarded. And I also love how Image always, I'd say, I don't know, about 80%, 90% of the time when they release a trade, the first trade of a series is always $10. And that's awesome. And if you order it from like cheapgraphicnovels.com, I know I'm sorry I'm saying them so much. Believe me, I'm not associated with them. But then you can get it for like $6, $5 if they have a 50% off sale. So how can you go wrong? And I can't wait to read this. And I can't wait to find out why this guy has a squid face. So check it out. Wolf number 1. Beefy. More with Image. We have Birthright, Joshua Williamson. The story continues. Mikey, who is really the younger brother of Brennan, who's his older brother. The adventure continues. More and more of Torinos and Earth gets kind of intermingled together. Now Mikey's pregnant mom is coming into the mix. Mikey's getting more and more possessed and getting in more and more trouble. I don't know if this entity wants to come out of him or what. There is an appearance of, let me check my trusty notes here, the Diviner, and the Diviner takes form of a bear creature, and he gets all deformed and mangled. I really love the coloring in this. The coloring is great. It has like that neon pop to it. You see it? And that's all kind of throughout the issue. I really love how the coloring just pops out, and the artwork is tremendous. They do these awesome like blur effects too. when there's like lasers firing and stuff and lightning. It's really, really cool. I'm really, really enjoying it. The colorist and the artist is Andre Brezin, and Adriano Lucas is the colorist. And Birthright has just been hitting it out of the park, man. I know the trade came out recently. If you get a chance, pick it up, man. I highly recommend Birthright. If you really like high fantasy with a touch of modern day realism, in a sense, you'll really like Birthright. So check it out, man. Another Image comic, number 3 of Sons of the Devil. And this is like turning out to be a really cool story. It's about, there's 2 stories that are really being told. One is in Venice Beach in 1989. It's following a police officer who's lost his child. Apparently this kid may have been kidnapped by a cult. And there's also a story now, modern day, also in Venice Beach. This character, what is his name? I can't remember. Travis. Never knew his birth parents, but he has some sort of connection to this cult as well. You got to look at his eyes when you're reading this. There's like one red eye, one blue eye, okay? Travis is in therapy, okay, because he's like an orphan and because he was adopted. He goes to group therapy every week at the Venice Community Center. Now, the therapist or the group leader is connected with the cult, and the group leader has the same eyes as Travis. But when he goes to facilitate this group, he puts in contact lenses so both his eyes look the same, so it's not a giveaway to Travis. You know, I'm sure if Travis saw what his eyes looked like, it would be like, hey, what's going on? And the funny thing is that Travis usually goes to this group as well wearing shades. And I don't know if this is going to translate on the camera, but you can see there's the one red eye, and he's always wearing shades. Now, the great thing in this book is the group therapy sequences. They are amazing. The interplay between the group members is hilarious. Like, when you read this, it is awesome. They, like, challenge each other. They give each other digs. They really push each other. And it's amazing how well that is written, believe me. Someone did their homework on group therapy when they wrote this. I don't know if they were once a member of group therapy or what, but they really kind of hit a lot of it out of the ballpark, and I really got a kick out of that. That was pretty funny and pretty spot on. It gets more and more intense in here, especially with the therapist. He is a grimy, creepy dude. And it really makes your skin crawl, some of the stuff. And it's kind of creepy knowing that you know what's up with the therapist, but Travis has no clue. Another thing of interest to note in this, too, is that Travis's roommate recently was murdered. And Travis's roommate was helping Travis try to find out the identity of his birth parents. Apparently, there's been some clues that he did uncover. They were left in his computer, and his girlfriend knows of these clues and is kind of urging Travis to follow up on these clues a bit more. Travis has also been questioned by the police in the last issue about the murder and about why he isn't taking as much of an interest in what's on that computer as the police feel that he should be. So lots of interesting stuff in here. This is written by Brian Buccellato. I know him primarily from Detective Comics. The artwork of Tony Infante is great. It kind of has like a heavy penciled, kind of like an anxiety-ridden kind of style to it. There's the therapist, and he's always making these like scowls. Always making these scowls, and just, I don't know, the energy that I feel when I look at the drawings in this, and even the coloring, it just hits home with me, and it creates kind of like a nerve-wracking feel to it. And I'm really, really enjoying it. I can't wait to see how this cult comes into play. I ask only for your patience, Dark One. Look at this. I don't know if I can get it in there. It's so hard to do this on the camera when I'm doing this side of the page. You see who's in the mirror there? Good God, folks. That is not Tim Curry from Legend, people. I'm telling you. All right, and to end the episode, I got The Empty Zone #2. I guess this actually came out last week, and I missed it. And I really like this book. I don't know how I missed it. Sometimes I forget. Sometimes I don't check Fresh Comics hard enough when I'm in the store. My comic book shop owner reprimanded me for that one time. I have my phone, and kind of the process when I go into the shop is I always have Fresh Comics, the new release list, queued up on my phone. So I'm going into the shop, and I got my list, and just so that I don't miss anything. And I don't know how I did. Anyway, I don't know how I did it, but he told me that Fresh Comics is often wrong on stuff. And he told me that I should go by their list. And I guess they print up a list of the new releases that they get. But I still use Fresh Comics. I don't know. I like them. But this book is pretty cool, man. Corinne is like this woman cyborg hybrid. She has been through the ringer. Now, they never fully explain what happened to her, how she ended up really in this condition. I feel like she is like a contract killer. They don't really tell you outright, but she has this person that calls her up and tells her that he has jobs for her. I believe this too also takes place in Los Angeles in the future. It's a dystopia. Not a very pleasant place to be. Very heavy influence by Blade Runner. I mean, that's kind of like the go-to movie, right? Whenever you say, what is this science fiction world like, you always say it's like Blade Runner. I mean, that's how good of a job Ridley Scott did, and that movie came out in 1981. So what does that tell you about how brilliant he is? Love Ridley Scott. But there's a lot of dream sequences in here, and maybe false memories, and you start to get a bit confused as to what is really happening and what is a dream. You don't know if Corinne is just psychotic or if she's just having these bad dreams. I don't know if this is all dream within a dream and she's just having one big giant dream and it's all just a dream. I don't know, man. It's like in JFK, remember when Joe Pesci's character was saying it's a riddle inside an enigma and an enigma. It's a very confusing kind of book, but I like it. I like it. And there's lots of cool stuff going on in here. I don't know, man. She looks pretty burnt out, man. She looks pretty burnt out. She looks tired. She's pretty through the ringer, folks. I mean, she doesn't get the beauty award, but that's okay. That's okay. She has like a cybernetic arm. She runs into all this weird stuff where there's bodies being experimented on. I don't know if that's translating in my camera. Got an awful glare today. I don't know why. She runs into this dude. This guy attacks her, and I won't tell you if that's a dream or not. Pretty graphic fight sequence in here. But this is, definitely intended for mature readers. I think you'll really like it. If you're into science fiction, if you're into kind of like sort of like a film noir detective kind of vibe to it, I think you'll really enjoy this. Again, if you were a fan of Blade Runner, you'll enjoy it. And I'm recommending this highly as well. Empty Zone. It actually started out as a Kickstarter project by Image. It's by Jason Sean Alexander. He does not only the writing, but also the artwork. And Image Comics Empty Zone. All right, dudes, that's going to do it with another Hump Day Haul, number 45. Can't believe we're only 7 weeks away from a full year. And I want to say, guys, thanks for watching. And probably next issue or next haul, I'll try to have a shout-out video for you guys. So be sure to leave a comment. I always enjoy your guys' feedback, and let me know what you would like to see on here, and let me know what you feel about graphic novels versus floppies. Which reading experience do you prefer? Okay? All right. Take care, guys. Peace. I am out.